Time, the 21st of February. Welcome to Business Watch, powered by Nedbank Eswatini. Our business for the day starts with a focus on the Youth Chamber of Commerce Industries of Eswatini, sharing their expectations for the youth in the next financial year's budget. This comes in the wake of the anticipated budget speech set for Friday, which will be presented by Minister for Finance Neil Reichenberg. We will also put a spectacle on a training by the Central Bank of Eswatini and different stakeholders on combating terrorist financing and the possible global economic impacts which could severely affect the economy of Eswatini. But on a more positive side, here's an interesting development. The European Union and the International Trade Center are paving way for local businesses in the UK markets. We will develop that conversation with our in-house business journalist, Nelsiwe Ndlangamandla. My name is Sifiso Nxumalo. It is wonderful to be in your company.
What is Business Watch without Nedbank Eswatini, or without the Nedbank segment? Nilizwane is an SME banker at Nedbank. She will join us to talk about their club savings account, its benefits and specifications. We will then be joined by economist Sanele Sibia to discuss a very topical conversation affecting the economy of the land, the commercialization of state-owned enterprises. What are the pros and what are the cons of this step? And our last segment will be the market analysis with Bongani Mabuza, who is Nedbank's head of treasury. For now, let's look at business news. Good afternoon. My name is Lungilela Makakula. Welcome back. This is the news. The Central Bank of Eswatini and different stakeholders is in training on combating terrorist financing and highlighting the possible global economic impacts which could also be detrimental to the economy of Eswatini. The Deputy Director of Financial Integrity at the Central Bank of Eswatini, Nomfanele Gunene, says Eswatini, especially the financial sector, should be on high alert on such acts to protect the country's financial standing.
This training is on awareness for all stakeholders on terrorist financing as well as targeted financial sanctions. Terrorist financing is providing funds and support, funds being money, economic activity for people that are terrorists. So in Eswatini, we saw terrorist activities in 2021. Whilst those terrorist activities are no longer happening, we can also be a fatal ground for business people from some of these countries where there are terrorist activities to make money in the country and then transfer the funds to their counterparts who are then carrying out the terrorist activities. We are trying then to say Eswatini must not promote any movement of funds or any creation of a fatal economic activity in the country to support terrorist financing. When international stakeholders realize that the country is housing people that are making money for terrorists and they are moving the money through the financial system, the country will be de-risked. What do we mean by de-risked? We mean that the international community will say they will no longer accept funds from Eswatini. And if funds are not moving from Eswatini, it means that the sugar that we send out of the country will not be received by those countries. We will not get money from the sugar that we have sold. The meat that we are sending outside from MBVN will not then receive proceeds and will not be received because any money that comes from the country will be suspected to be funding terrorist activities.
The Youth Chamber of Commerce Industries, Eswatini, says it is expecting more support for the youth in the next financial year's budget, which is set to be delivered by Finance Minister Neil Reichenberg on Friday. President Bonke Mota of the Youth Chamber of Eswatini Industries says young people need support, especially in establishing and sustaining their businesses.
Number one I highlight is already the country has documents that are inclusive of young people. So sort of how a government should be able to fund lama documents so that atokona kusita sibantu labasha, because already there's NDPA, there's an after strategy, which already lama documents are explain how young people can play a role in the economy. So I guess we are expecting kuzile budget ya minister ibonakala ukuthi itawafunda lama policies ingabe nje inivebhalwe phansi kubonakala ukuthi nama implementation. As Youth Chamber, we are sort of an organization for young entrepreneurs in the country. We really appreciate the support from the ministry through Lama initiative, and through, of course, the awarding of scholarships, but also helping young entrepreneurs access to funding. I know Youth Fund already gets a budget from the ministry, so hopefully even the budget Youth Fund can increase this year. But also hopefully even the people in the business support services organization, all the ones that are supporting young people, we wish to see their budget increasing. We wish to see more collaborating between the ministry itself and as Youth Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So I guess it's after implementation strategy, which we feel like will elevate entrepreneurship in the country, not just for youth, but for everyone as well. But also the NTPA, which is the National Development Plan. We sort of will really appreciate if those policies can be funded, because inside those policies already it's been clarified that youth entrepreneurship is already being prioritized in the country.
And that's it for our business segments. Fiso, what's next?
The European Union and the International Trade Center say they are paving way for local businesses in the UK markets. We'll discuss that with Nelsiwe and Langamandla after the break.
Stay with us.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 762222000 or dial *007 *3 *7#, or you can use Eswatini Imali. You can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any Nedbank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokho sifile sive sikhulume.
It's 9 minutes after 2. Welcome back to the program. The International Trade Center, in collaboration with the European Union, is paving markets for food and drinks gifts for local companies as well as small and medium enterprises in the United Kingdom. The monitoring and evaluation expert at the International Trade Center, Mbuso Malinga, says this is to ensure that local businesses have more trading opportunities outside of Eswatini.
The ITC is a joint agency of the United Nations with the World Trade Organization. So the main mandate of the ITC is to actually build capacity of local businesses to improve their trade abilities. So this ultimately is envisioned to improve the national GDPs of local economies. So based on recent market research, it has been evident that there is a growing demand of food gifts in the European market. To be quite specific, this is the UK market, which currently is estimated to be at the value of 26 billion pounds. To address this demand, ITC, in collaboration with the European Union, has convened a webinar which seeks to share insights on the UK export market for food gifts. So this market basically is driven by unique products with very interesting brand stories. Currently, the entrepreneurs that we are targeting are entrepreneurs which are in the processing space. So for instance, you have entrepreneurs who make jams, you have entrepreneurs who make chili sauces. So basically, those are the entrepreneurs that we are actually targeting for this food gift market. It is not only limited to those. It can also go further to any other entrepreneurs that could be interested in getting into such a space.
Yeah, that's Mbuso Malinga on food gifts that have great potential in markets that they should leverage in the UK. Nelly, as he's talking, I'm looking at the visuals and I'm getting a clear view of what food gifts are, because I had that question when he started talking. What are we talking about when we are talking about food gifts? I'm seeing chili sauce. I know we have a lot of, upcoming businesses in that industry, and one would suppose jam, margarine, those kind. Are those food gifts?
Yes, he said, when he explained, he said these food gifts can include any merchandise that is sold by the small and medium enterprises, but it includes both food and beverages. Konke nje lokungathi kukhicitwa ngilama industries lamancane lapha even.
You have a lot of conversations with IPA, and they have a lot of interest in external trade, and that has been articulated in the speech from the throne as well, that we really need to be an export-driven economy as Eswatini. Talk to me about some of these markets. How much opportunity do we have?
Akhona ema opportunities isifiso kakhulu, but lokutholakele ngibuke nje i-merchandise trade statistics report ya ERS yeminyaka wanga 2021-2022, because that's the only one we have now, kwekuthi ukhanza ukuthi Eswatini si trade kakhulu nalama regional commerce communities, ukhanza ukuthi sta trade ka SACCO, trade ka SADC, trade ku COMESA, but nawubuka le kubo UK asingeni kahle. Ngeke ngayibona ne report lelekhishwe nguhulumende company survey lapho khona bekachaza ukuthi siyangena e-UK, but ukhanza ukuthi singena ngalabo ma citrus. Nangiyibuka le report yaka ERS iyachaza ukuthi thine kakhulu siya importer, ithi nje ngawo wona lo mnyaka wanga 2021-2022 abokhanza ukuthi thine ka EU si importe over 6 billion emalangeni. Lokusho ukuthi si importer kakhulu, but now ubuka ukuthi siya exporter kangakanani ka SADC, imali it's 81.4% lesi importer kona lesi ka SADC. So kusho ukuthi live leSwatini lisadzinga lokuthi lingene vele kuleti market leti le ngaphandle kwa the SADC region.
And for the benefit of the viewer, if you want to understand how GDP works, you have to understand the rationale behind exports and imports. We really need to export more than we import, and that is how our economy is going to be sustainable and stable. Now, see, we're a big conversation around export and trade, the issue of standards. Are you having such conversations with APA, with Mbuso Malinga, Tseneni, our local businesses? Because we had a conversation with a friend recently. We bought apples. I'm not going to say where, because there would be a bedrock for that supermarket anyway. Ukhanza uthi lihabhula selivele limele la store, but lo muntu lo usawapakisha ukungena store ukhanza uthi kusapakishwa lama fruits. uyadibuta lo ukuthi why are we being sold kudla lesevele kulimele? So the way that food is being packaged, standards mazinga konke letinto leti. Engabe are they having those conversations with our local businesses?
Because of these trainings that are ongoing from different companies, so ngibane interest as I go and do these stories. Good see, yes, you are conducting this webinar, and we've seen the Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund saying lama business alabamfla basha agcina angaphumeleli. So lana nje ngibutile kwekuthi yes, you conducted this webinar, yes, you are saying ukuthi there is this opportunity,
right.
But we know ukuthi these SMEs faces hurdles as they try to navigate the market khona le UK. What is it that you are doing to ensure ukuthi vele bayakhona kugcina bafinyelele leti market? Usiphendulile ke yena Mbuso Malinga wachaza ukuthi bayabapherisha with the big companies, bosondonzima, like those companies that are under Business Eswatini. So stamuva sfiso ukuthi utothini kuloko, because it's a concern even from the Federation of Eswatini Business Community, FESBIC, to say our SMEs are not performing well because siyafundziswa nje sifundiswe bese siyasala.
Yeah, certainly. Our SMEs will have to really dive deep and know all the standards they have to meet from Laboson Vonzima, as you mentioned. But let's listen to Mbuso Malinga as he explains the processes that may be red tapes that they may face as they try to penetrate these opportunities and leverage all these, trade opportunities that are opening up in the UK as well as other markets.
What we have done so far is that, firstly, we have capacity building initiatives. Those are your trainings, those are your workshops, those are your webinars that we normally convene to try and build the competitiveness of our MSMEs to be able to trade internationally. That is one way. And then the other one, of course, closely working with the European Union, we have established a number of alliances or relationships. So you will understand that in the country or locally, we have large enterprises which already have the ability and strength to export. So what we have done, we have linked the smaller MSMEs to the larger MSMEs to create that alliance to enhance trade. We work with quite a number of business support organizations. So what normally happens is that we attach some of these MSMEs to the business support in organizations. So they are the ones who will then, of course, try to assist them to access these international markets.
And certainly Mbuso, Nelsie, iveta inzaba bayigcizelela inzaba ukuthi kufuna ukuthi benchmark vele kuBoson Bonzima, and lama webinars as you mentioned and the trainings are very critical kuloko. Engabe lenzaba yema standards ibese seyibamgcwa kangakanani vele kuthi bawamithe laba la stipulated kulama trade agreements?
It's very important Fiso ukuthi bawamithe noma ngabe ungusomabhizinisi lomncane. NAMBOD has said ukuthi they handhold their SMEs to ensure ukuthi they meet the standard. You can't sell to other countries nangabe usetawuthengisa kudla mhlawumbe ligwava lakho lisenesibatanyana abalithathi ka EU lelo gwava lelo. So it's very important for bosomabhizinisi labancane ukuthi bachubeke bende nabo packaging, kungabi njena ukuthi mhlawumbe wena wende ulimele isihlahla seligwava kuphela. For us to have more imports, we need exports rather. We need to diversify naletimfo lesithi siyadimikisa ngale tisreach vele le standard tibe ngileti hlobile tibe ngiletide mhlawumbe le totibati tekuthi ngathi sediyabola. So I think tinhlangano letifana nabo boNAMBOD naletinye tinhlangano tiyetama lokuthi bosomabhizinisi labancane tiba train on these standards.
We had a business news segment right before you came in here, Nelsie, where Bonke Motsa, the president of the Youth Chamber Industries, just speaking on, their optimistic projections for what Minister Neil Reichenberg is going to deliver, particularly for the youth, of course. Engabe what are some of the opportunities that they should look forward to, the minister delivering on Friday?
Bosomabhizinisi labancane labakhala ngako kakhulu yindzaba ye-funding, yindzaba yekuthi ngathi uhulumende akababoni kahle.
But it's not the case. We know what Hulumende is doing quite a lot.
Yes, Hulumende is doing quite a lot, Sfiso, but the problem is, bosomabhizinisi labancane, the Youth Chamber of Commerce Industries feel like Hulumende agafiki le emakhaya. Yes, we have talked to a Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund. Lechazile kwekuthi we are trying to conduct clinics ngisho letinzaweni letisemakhaya because we hold them accountable, because ours is to hold them accountable ukuthi yes, government, you are saying you've introduced all these things, but are you visible enough for the youth? Mina nje lengisuka kalavumisa ungakhona yini uhulumende ukuthi labamfla basha labaleka lavumisa uyafika yini. So bona bakhala ngefunding and the hurdles lakhona ekufikeni kuleti khwama nako lokunye abakhona kufinyelela kuleti khwama ngoba kunala ma hurdles lakhona Sfisa.
As we talk about those red tapes, those hurdles that are there to access to funding, Nelsiwe, I'm reminded of Bantlabasha Esbayeni. Indzaba lenkhulu litiko letinkhundla nekuthuthukiswa kwato li presenter indzaba ye Regional Development Fund, and I remember very well ukuthi bekung principal secretary labeka presenter asho ukuthi sikhona lesikhwama bantfu labasha nanabo bavumelekile ukuthi bete kuso. And what was interesting was not so many red tapes into accessing that kind of fund, if you think about it, and the fact that it looks to empower Bantu from 10 minimum. But then the question becomes, is it a question of red tapes per se, or a question of bayati yini ngaleti khwama?
Okay, ubekise nge-Regional Development Fund. Uyati ukuthi kwanyalo Sfiso ku Regional Development Fund. Kusafuna ukuthi sihlangane sibe ngi-10. Ukhanza ukuthi asiko mcondvo munye ngalo ukuthi sibe ngi-10. We know ukuthi i-Regional Development Fund iksendiwa kusabukwa ukuthi ngete yini. I think the PS highlighted it ukuthi ngete yini yatholwa ngumuntu munye so that bato benefit ababe baningi labantu. Nyalo bekusathiwa 10. Bese ke sekuthiwa nasenihlangene sentawuhamba ke need for le Regional Development Fund. I don't think this is just a cry lengekho. I think they have tried to access these funds, but ukhanza ukuthi kulesinye isikhathi abakhona, but we know ukuthi government has really tried to help bantu labasha abasite kwekuthi okay, this is how you do a business plan. I think noma ngabe uhlulekile nje ka Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund bayakuthatha wena lohlulekile bahambe bayoktraina, because the big problem nje ka Youth Enterprise Revolving Fund is abakhoni kwenda ima business plan. We had SEDCO lapho asho khona ukuthi sesiya lemakhaya siyaphuma. So government is really trying, but yes, the challenges have been there.
Quite a lot of dikwamalet corner, but I think some of these conversations will develop with Sanel Sbia later on the show, because we had a conversation with you a couple of weeks ago about, the funding that FinCorp offers for Bantu Labasha and how much, FinCorp has helped Bantu Labasha. Ukuthi kuqhubeke kube malula ukuthi bathi itfole leti mali.
Lokunye nje Sifiso lengathanza ukungeta siyathi ukuthi i-FinCorp survey ya 2017 le nalekule economic recovery plan ithi about 59,000 of businesses in Eswatini are businesses that are owned by young people. Those young people do not have the knowledge of operating business. Abanalo lo lwati abati nje ukuthi ke phana nang only business kumele ukuthi le ndalo ngiyibeke and all that. So a lot of young people, we have 790,000 young people in the country, so they are still going to be interested in this space. So it's important for government njengoba sekasukumile vele seka realize ukuthi entrepreneurship is important. So basically
let's just
that.
hope ukuthi Nelsiwe all those businesses lo washo kwataba ne success rate lesetulu nasekuvukele tinhlelo from lamaphakelo angalesihlanu, and they can really tap into the UK market, let's say even through International Trade Center. We'll go for a break seat we are sixoxisane nebaka Nedbank Eswatini.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Welcome back. You're still watching Business Watch, powered by Nedbank Eswatini. Last week on the program, we featured Zamangwane Dlamini, who is the head of branch networks, who talked about their current account, its functionality, fees, and charges. Today, we will focus on club savings accounts with Phindile Zwane, who is an SME banker at Nedbank Eswatini. We will just focus on the benefits and specifications of the club savings accounts. A very good afternoon and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me, Phindile. Today, we're focusing on the club savings account, also known as Stokvel, for most of your clients. What is the club savings account?
Thank you so much, Lulu, for having us today. The club savings account is a savings account that's designed for a group of people who are basically saving money as a collective. For example, you might have a bunch of friends who'd like to save money for a holiday that they'd like to go on, or a group of people who would maybe like to save to start a business. So it's like that.
Okay, so what is the number, what is the minimum and maximum number of group members, number of people that should open the account, and what is the eligibility, age? Is it 18 and above? Students can also open the account.
Okay, so we need a minimum of 3 people to open the account. There's no maximum to open the account. And yes, it's between the age of 18 and above who can open this account. Okay. When you open the account, there's a balance of 1,000 malangani that needs to be paid. Okay, then the bank will help facilitate withdrawals according to what suits the club.
Okay, so how long is it valid for? For instance, the group members decide they want to close the account. How long is the process to close the account? What documents are needed to close the account?
Okay, so you can keep the account as long as you'd like. If you decide that you'd like to close the account, you'll provide the bank with a resolution that will be signed by the 3 signatories that would have opened the account to begin with. And then you can close the account like that.
Because there's 3 signatures?
Yes.
So in a case where one of the signatories is deceased, do they have to replace that person immediately? What happens then?
Yes, we encourage them to actually replace the person. And again, they would also bring a resolution introducing us to that new person. And then they'll be able to join.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if there is no activity on the account, perhaps, the members open the account, but there are no deposits or whatsoever, what then happens? What does Nedbank then do?
Usually, if that happens, the account goes dormant because you're supposed to be receiving funds. The account will become dormant. We'll let the members know that the account is dormant and they'll need to come back and revive it. If they do not want to revive it, then we'll go back to the process of closing the account.
Yeah, you mentioned withdrawal fees and also there's maintenance fees, interest. Tell us more about that.
Okay, so we have free maintenance, so you have no maintenance fees. We've got no service fees. When you come and make deposits in the bank, it is free to make deposits. Your first 2 deposits per month are free over the counter. Then the third and subsequent ones we do charge as a bank. We need to remember that this is for savings, so we don't really encourage you to be withdrawing the funds from the account. Yeah.
So do they have full access to the account? Do they have a bank card? Can they access it via the app? Access.
Yes, so we do not encourage to have the debit card, but we do have internet banking, of which the 3 signatories have control over. We've also got ATM they can deposit money in and into the branch as well. They can transact there.
So do you monitor these accounts, taking into consideration cybercrime and all that stuff?
Definitely.
Do you monitor the accounts?
We definitely monitor the accounts.
Okay.
And also we've got dual control. So with the signatories, it's either we have 2 people who will allow a transaction to go through, or they can decide that all 3 people should sign for a transaction to go through. Yeah.
So how much money? Is there any limit to the
deposit?
amount of money, to have on the account?
No, they can just deposit, because it depends. People come from different parts. It could be a family, maybe they can deposit 300. It could be business people who have more to deposit. So it depends on the certain group.
Okay, so do all the group members have to have an account at Nedbank?
Not necessarily. Only the 3 people.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we want to find out what is the purpose of having, of opening the savings account. What benefits, what advantages are there of your clients opening the savings account?
Okay. So the advantage is that clients can save. We know that a lot of people have lots of projects that they'd like to do, whether it be going on holiday, as I said before, or whether it is for opening a business. So we encourage people to just set aside that money and save for their dreams, because it's only up to them, right, to do the savings. Yeah.
So are they able to access it? Do you guys send statements? Can they access it via the app or internet banking?
They can come in branch and get a bank statement if they want to monitor what's happening with the account. Another thing they can do is apply for our internet banking, which allows them to manage what's happening in their account. So the 3 people that we spoke about are usually the ones who will have access to that internet banking.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about, because we need to be considerate of cybercrime. There's many cases that are being reported. So do you guys monitor the amount of money that gets deposited?
Definitely.
All that, yeah.
Definitely. So we monitor on a daily basis on money coming into the account and out of the account. So that will safeguard for anything that might happen on the account that's not supposed to be happening.
Okay. So the process in a case where the members want to close the account. So what's the process? What's the procedure?
The procedure would be they would obviously have had a meeting together as members and decided, okay, we'd like to close this account. They'll provide us with a resolution requesting the bank to have this account closed, and that the 1,000 emalangeni that they used to open will then be transferred to an account that they wish.
Okay.
We'll then have the account closed as long as it's signed by 3 people, which are the signatories.
All right. So I need you to convince, your clients to open the club savings account. Why should they open this particular account?
I would say definitely open this account because of our pricing. We don't charge much for this account. You're able to actually make those savings that you've always probably wanted to do something with. This is your chance. Come together with other people, decide on what you're saving money for, and just start saving your money with us. Your money will definitely be safe with Nedbank.
All right. Important question, Pindile. How does Nedbank handle disputes amongst members?
Okay, so the members provide us with a constitution that was made by the members. So we follow what the members actually stipulated on that to be able to help them.
Okay, lastly, so please convince the clients to open the savings account as soon as possible. What are the benefits? What are the advantages? And lastly, and please do give us your contact details.
Okay, I'd encourage people to use the savings account. We have no maintenance fees on this account. We have no service fees on the account. You've got free cash deposits. Don't forget that you can also withdraw 2 times free per month over the counter. We only charge on the 3rd and subsequent withdrawals.
Okay, so where can they contact you guys?
Okay, they can contact us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and X, which is the former Twitter, on Nedbank Eswatini.
All right. Thank you so much, Pindile. Thank you for joining us. There you have it. Please do visit Nedbank Eswatini Service Centers to find out more about the club savings account, also known as the Stockville account. So let's take a break. Sabiya Konamanje.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Welcome back. State-owned enterprises have been cited by the World Bank and the business community as having a great potential of contributing to uplifting the country's economy. Let's talk to economist Sanele Sibiya on the advantages and disadvantages of potentially merging and commercializing state-owned enterprises. Mr. Sbi, I know the conversation around merging SOEs is one that has a lot of skepticism around it, but inzaba yekwa commercialize alamanye awo is a conversation that is something that government really wants to heed to. So many recommendations by the report World Bank, but perhaps to premise our conversations, as define lama state-owned enterprises, we know what's the likhulu.
Okay. No, thank you for having me, Sfiso. So, masikhuluma nge-state-owned enterprise, sikhuluma nge-enterprise only leyahulumende kodwa isenzaweni lapho ingakhona khona ukuthi yakhe imali. So basically sithi i-commercial in nature, so it should actually be in business and competing. So that is a state-owned enterprise. It is a bit different. Ihlukile from a public good institution lefana nokuthi University of Swaziland ngiyabekisa, and as much as bangaba ma state-owned depending on the level of privatization that you want, but what is happening there is we are providing a public good. So there is so much you can squeeze it kuze yakhe imali lenengi. So ufuna sicale sihlukanise leto ntshwana leto ke phela siyabuya siba nema regulatory authorities again, lawo ma regulatory authorities and kulukhuni kokuthi nawo ungaw classify as enterprises because they are not atikateli kutawakha imali la business nje ma institutions la katele kokuthi ato improve business environment. So nako lo mehluko lobakhona lapha ukuthi state-owned enterprise ngulesi position ukuthi singayakha imali.
And I suppose that answers one of the concerns cited kule report ya World Bank. Ngiyalibona le sentence may not really recall ukuthi page band, but when I did a bit of reading on the framework inzaba ukuthi livela kangwane, there's a misconception that it has over 40 SOEs, and I suppose what you've just told me answers that. Is that it?
Yes, that is it, because World Bank we are recommend ukuthi asekubuketwe aclassify ke kahle leti inhlangothi tahulumende ukuze sitawukhona ukuthi yini lesingayenda ihlangothini lolu nalolu nalolu. For example nje singasho ukuthi ema state-owned enterprises ngoba analo leligcuzo lethi angayakha le mali, so kungathi asiwaphushe ukuthi akhone kwakha le mali either through being competitive noma through other means ukuthi asebenze as private entities ukuze ate usita uhulumende ukuthi akhone uhulumende kuthola ama dividends nase kayakha le mali wona angaphe kubuya atodvonsa lana kule fiscal space ukuthi awu kule fiscal space ukuthi asengiside salengivala la so lokho ukuthi amsita uhulumende lokwati ukuthi i-intervention lengayenda kule category lena ngulena kule category lena nginaku lengakwenda kungabi ukuthi konke nje sekungazi ukuthi kuyafana yalo masikhuluma nje ngokuthi one of the strategies it emerge, but mina nje ngeke sengithatha isiphithisi uimaginani ngeke vele because that one can make money on its own. Emagesi angatakhela imali on their own, so ati sustain, but le ungacabanga lokwameja kungaba ke ngilama public good institutions nalama regulatory bodies ukuthi at least lapho kukhona lokungakusave uma wameja, kodwa nakhona angiboni ukuthi kukhona lokunganani lokungakusave in the short term ngoba ayikho info lelikhona nje ngekucosha umuntu emsebenzini kunekumqasha,
particularly right now as the country is grappling high unemployment rates. Mr. Sibia, perhaps just in a spirit of maybe commending our premier, our prime minister, we saw him just a week ago ahlangene nabo lababuke wona ma SOE lapha eveni, but nje nakahlangene nabo you could see ukuthi LinkedIn uke wabeke example ukuthi bongevinyalithi ngisho iwaphansi the mood lebeyikhona nakakhuluma andvuna nkulu kunenge ma concerns lawa veta. I think most of them now are deducer from the report ya World Bank and recommendations, the commercialization of SOEs, and I'm happy that you are alluding to some of these SOEs that could take that front row of being commercial, but that hurts the consumer, doesn't it?
Yes, it would hurt the consumer, kodwa ke lesiya sithi akuzame kwendeka ukuthi at least asifike kunakule sithi break even kuzilele ngufakile akuphume ukuthi sekude le ngakuthatha kuhulumende kodwa lele ngufakile mina angukhiphe ngale, so lokho kuyaye kuyilimate kancane i-consumer, but akuvami ukuthi kube kulimate kakhulu compared to umuntu filena lo vele akha i-profit ngoba na ubuka leti indlela laba price ngato ema-commodities abo diyehluka. So kulama state-owned enterprises siyayisi recommend ukuthi sebenta lapha ku break even or usonzele kancane ngala ku profit margin yakho, but ungangeni kakhulu ukuthi uyidzinga kakhulu because vele awuyidzingi kangako, uyidzingela nje ukuthi sustain and ukhone ku repair imachine, ukhone kubuyela usebente and ukhone kuba competitive market. So le effect yona itawuba khona kuma consumers ngoba nasi setup lama state owned enterprises vele suke sendela ukuthi consumer to benefit ukuthi nalo beka ngakhona kuba nelidingo sotawukhona kuba nalo beka ngakhona kuba na gas sotawukhona kuba nayo. So lokho uhulumende angachubeka bese so wenda ku subsidize le consumer directly instead of subsidizing le SOE.
Yes. Got you. I liked and I appreciated the example that you made, ngebema gas. I think for the benefit of the consumer, ngidafuna ukuthi sigitse ligogweni kuyo indzaba ye commercialization nendzaba yokuthi kube nema SOE lata breaker even. I think personally I do understand it, but you know let's break it down for the layman. Kunendzaba ye commercialization. Yes, I certainly understood. Let's cite examples of lawo lesingasho ukuthi akasonzele profit margin and cite examples of those that could operate within being sustainable, not break even.
Uyabona nje singathatha sibeke emagesi nemaposi netincingo naloliwe. Sithi leto adibuye di operate tibe at break even or even make a bit of profit. Emagesi siwabonile they always declare profits. I think ngibo kuphela nje SOE le khona would make good profits. But nje ngabo khotheka kabi but lesikele sawabona abawa declare ngiwo emagesi.
No, you won't be quoted guy, but I think even his Majesty highlighted that in speech from the throne. Yes.
Yeah, sesingabeke sesiyasuka ke sesiyabuya sithi elapha etingcingweni nasethi maposini. But sengisa igood le kayithengisako MTN. Even though ayisiko very close substitute, but sengisa ne commodity like sengiswa kwa Eswatini mobile and maningi ama companies la ngaphandle siyabona kunabo Jeni kunabo Real Image, quite a number of private companies like ayakhako imali nga the same commodity let's sengiswa mapos. So singasho ukuthi nemapos naseka khanuka or nabanga improve here and there bangakhona lokuthatha ukuthi nabo at least ba break even. Sihambe sehlele nakhona kaloliwe. Uloliwe usupporta i-business, usupporta i-backdrop vele ke kungekhipha nekhambisa into la even. So kungaba ukuthi na ungacabanga ukuthi how effectively can they do the service labayendako. Ukuthi stimula sitahamba makunjani uya over nje now to import something ekuthiwe umkhumbuzo sengagcwali ngeuhambe. So probably manje ngilama strategies longakhanza ukuthi naloliwe angawa implementa ukuze kungukuthi atawukhona kubuya lapho lekakha khona imali in as much as angafuni kwakhe profit manje lokuthi akhona sila kufakile phinze kuphume sihambe siyobuka phinze kubeke nakufana nabo National Maize Corporation ngoba labo ba produce kudla nabo ungasho ukuthi they can actually operate in a profitable manner. Banabona mbodi kodwa ke kufuna bese soba nako lemali ukuthi aba nemthelela longanani naso uthi abangene kube profitable but nje sisabafike ku sustainability ngoba basebenta ngecommodity lekhona emarket and the private sector iyayisebenzisa leyo commodity bese naso ungena kulama regulatory bodies lawo ke ngoba awufuni ukuthi ama license besadula kakhulu uyasho nje ukuthi cha ndawuchubeka ngifande ngihulumende but ibani efficient ngichazithanze kakhulu nje ngonyama na ikhuluma ngeefficiency ngoba lokho umcokwa iefficiency ukuthi ngiyamdzinga inlo 200 webantu lola officeini lami nako lo muntu ofuna bese uyabuta wona ukuthi yini indlela engingenta ngayo ukuze ukuthi lo million munye lenginaye akhona kungendela umsebenzi lokhanza ukuthi mangisebenta budlapha ngithi ngabo 10 million kanze sinatho unciphisa ukuthi nangakhatha la nalapha ngingachubeka ngikwendelele ngikwendako but ngale madlana lencane so nako ngile kufuna sikubuka nje I think the World Bank ikhulumela lokho ukuthi efficiency in public enterprises
very important and you know the bottom line is the reliance on the fiscal purse kufuna ukuthi yehle kakhulu let's all operate in terms of being sustainable or closely towards being profitable. Here's an interesting conversation lebe khona na ndvunankulu akhulumisa baphathi bema SOE indzaba ukuthi the mood of an organization kutsi kujabula kwe-employee lakhatsi usayithe indzaba yema-pay inequalities washo kutsi baphatsi get paid exorbitantly while the staff gets paid so little, and which is an understandable concern. Now the trying economic times that we are living in, and I see how that could double and affect lokutsi le SOE ingabi efficient without them 17 How will that be addressed, perhaps with some of the recommendations that World Bank is proposing?
Uyabona Sifiso, na ukhuluma ngebhizinisi, lo CEO akayi-own le business, yena ayimjabulisi i-profit sukacashwe ngoba kude la kakuthola ko-profit. So vele bo CEO na wenda kuyicwaningo uyidadisha vele sokwaba nema-theories la kasho ukuthi batawufuna lama-perks abe maningi la ngakibo. Ngiko sihlezi si-advocate nje ukuthi na ufuna kunciphisa vele njengabo-wage bill nani ungabuki le phasi kusile bantu labale phansi kude le mali tawuthi ngicoshe 100 wabo ukuze utawakha le mali utawuseva le mali kanti na ungacosha babidlana le tulu utawuseva equal amount njengoba utayiseva nabantu abanga-100.
Right.
Yeah, so kuba kule tinshwana leto ukuthi sibukete ke ukuthi singenta kanjani, kodwa ke na hulumende unayo phela the PEU Act le controller emaholo alabo senior executives kuma public state owned enterprises. So singaba nakuthi uhulumende naye akacinise phela ngoba shothi sekufika lena la khona ngoba shothi bani sebayadisha ngazela nje sekude lobanakile kanti phindze khale yena uhulumende nasekathi awu nayi imali sengida imali senifuna imali leningi madodana babe abantu badinika imali, but nje that is the nature of executives ukuthi batawufuna kudinika imali.
Yeah, no, it's quite interesting, but I think the biggest hope is that SOEs are sustainable, are profitable, such that hulumende athathe langa kuwo athathe ama-dividends instead of ukuthi bona baye ngale fiscal purse. So let's hope ukuthi in the 12th parliament ama-SOEs atawukhona kusebenzisana kahle nahulumende akhone ukuthi nange-13th parliament salathatha ngalana msesibe. Thank you so much for your time. Sitawuba hlola emakethe sitawubuya sikhulumisane na head of treasury from Nedbank.
Residents of Simunye and surrounding areas are notified that intense TV license door-to-door inspections are being conducted in the region. The exercise starts on the 19th to the 28th of February 2024. Stay alert. Our TV license inspectors will be wearing Eswatini TV gear and will have tags that confirm their identity. Don't be scammed. Our inspectors do not ask for cash payments. Pay your TV license only at specified pay points or call us on 34050163 or 78024545 for more information. Alternatively, you can send a WhatsApp message to 76222000 and we'll chat with you. Pay your TV license today, enhance the industry.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Ujala masada mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokhu
Sibili sive sikhulume.
Welcome back. You're still watching Business Watch, powered by Nedbank Eswatini. I'm joined by the head of treasury at Nedbank, Bongani Mabuza, to give us the latest analysis on our stock markets. A very good afternoon. Thank you for joining us once again. I hope your day is going well. We're going to just get an overview, Mr. Mabuza, on the currencies. Tell us what is happening on Goma commodities as well as Emma equities.
Thank you, Luli. It's a pleasure to be here, and greetings to your viewers. I'll just start with what's happening in markets right now in terms of, firstly, foreign exchange. What you're seeing is that markets are mostly muted, with not much happening, especially with regards to the rand. And this is because the expectations of the SA budget speech happening this afternoon. We also saw some data come out. Last week it was the US inflation numbers that came out better than or stronger than expected. We also saw SA unemployment numbers come out yesterday, which showed unemployment in South Africa standing at 32.1%, which is an increase from 31.9% in the last quarter. This morning, there was a mild reaction to SA inflation numbers, which came out at 5.3%, whereas the market was expecting SA inflation numbers to be 5.4%. This is also an increase from December at 5.1%. As a result, the dollar against the dollar, euro, and pound, the langeni is relatively flat. And moving on to commodities markets, what we're seeing there is also relatively flat movement of mainly gold and Brent crude. With gold, 1 ounce of gold has a price of $2,028 per ounce, and we have seen gold recover in the past week. We've had 4 consecutive days of gains in the gold prices, and we expect that there will be some price movement in the price of gold after the release of minutes of the US Federal Reserve. This is expected to be later this evening. In terms of the Brent crude number, we saw a slight increase yesterday, but flat today. I think this is due to higher equity indices in China and concerns around demand and supply due to the tensions in the Middle East.
Okay, so I want us to talk about the budget speech expectations. We know that Minister Reichenberg is expected to table his budget speech this Friday. What can we expect looking at the numbers, especially in the dollar? Around 18 Malayan and 19 Malayan 50 cents. What can we expect after the minister has tabled his speech?
No, that's correct. As we mentioned, markets are really flat, waiting for this budget speech, and we'll see some price movement as a result there. We have the South African budget speech today, and then we have the Eswatini budget speech on Friday. Both are important. In terms of the SA budget speech, the big expectations is for the finance minister to announce that South Africa needs to raise an additional 15 billion rand in revenue, and where that revenue is going to come from. The expectations are that either there will be an increase in taxes, either from VAT increase or an increase in personal and business taxes. We'll see what comes out of that, but it's a tricky balance from an SA perspective because it is an election year in South Africa. So the finance minister will have to balance between austerity, which is needed to get the country's finances in check, as well as populism, which is needed to win elections. Coming closer to home, there are high expectations for the finance minister's budget speech on Friday. I think what most people will be looking at is what it will say with regards to capital project spending. We know that there's a lot of capital projects that are in the pipeline. From a local perspective, these are from government spending as well as business spending, which is private sector spending. So what the budget speech will say about capital projects, and as well as what the allocation of the country's high receipts of SACCO funds, how those will be spent in the coming year. I think it will be very interesting to see what happens, and also the social spending around healthcare, around education.
Okay, before we conclude, Mr. Mabuza, tell us what is happening on equities. What is the latest news on equities?
Thanks. I think the story is the same. We have seen relatively a slight decline in equity prices across the board. When you look at US prices, when you look at UK prices, as well as on the JSC, slight decrease in prices. And what we've seen is that there's an expectation of data that's going to come out today, especially in the US when you talk about the release of the minutes of the January Federal Reserve meeting. That's going to move markets. So markets are just waiting for that. Coming closer to South Africa, the expectation is that the budget speech is going to move prices around commodities. In the UK, markets are still digesting the global the global changes in macro factors, particularly around the hawkish inflation numbers and what they mean for interest rate expectations. We also saw in the last week the UK as well as Japan slip into technical recessions. We'll see the markets are digesting that, and we'll see how they react going forward to that.
All right, thank you so much. Before I let you go, Mr. Mabuza, just quickly give us an update on the monthly statistical release.
Thanks, Lulu. This is important data because it is local data. We saw on Valentine's Day, the central bank released the monthly statistical release, which is important because it shows mostly the three key factors. The first is the gross official reserves, which are up 10.9% month on month. This is due to the SACU receipts which the country received. Credit to the private sector is up about 2.2% month on month to 19 billion, which is good. So, and lastly, the domestic liquid assets are at 7.9 billion, which are down about 1.8%.
All right, thank you for that analysis, Mr. Mabuza. See you next week, Wednesday. That's it for our market analysis. Let's take a break.
Thank you.
Digital helps you make cross-border payments. Human gives you global specialists. Digital allows you to apply for a loan anytime, anywhere. Human connects you to credit experts. Digital puts you in control of your money, while Human connects you to wealth advisors. Digital allows you to freeze, unfreeze, cancel, and reorder your card. Human gives you that personal touch. Digital when you want it. Human when you need it. Get the complete private banking experience with Nedbank Private Clients.
Just 2 minutes before Bumbane in Simbi yesithathu lomuhla. I think but most people don't know that me and you are friends. So ngicabanga ukuthi nyalo lesingakuthembisa abantu ukuthi siye Nedbank siyovula club savings account. We encourage friends or groups to go and open a club savings account with Nedbank. There's a lot of advantages.
Yeah, bangaba baningi is as many as over 500, just as long as there are 3 people. Labata kona kuba nema signatures lektabang labo labata usayina for every transaction, for every withdrawal,
and everyone can monitor
monitor. So you can find out more kuvashela nje basa Nedbank kuvakabandi on the club savings account. Ngalogo sesi and Valelis, hope to see you again tomorrow at 2 p.m. for Market View. Otherwise, for Business Watch, we'll see you again next week Wednesday. Have a lovely day.
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch was brought to you by Nedbank.